Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Salutations.
It's funny, I've been watching Charlotte's Web a lot. When he said salutations, it sort of chuckles. My son's been saying that word lately.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Awesome.
Hey.
What's up, dude?
How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Not too bad.
Good, good.
I think
Good space herpes, but besides that,
space herpes. Don't kiss John on the mouth.
Right. The cure for that is beheading.
oh, wait a minute.
Oh, crap. All right, yeah, I don't know what Phil's doing. He must have slept.
I can guess sleep, but
Yeah, he should be able to hop in later. So the only tricky part is he was sort of elbows deep in the AI thing on the NWOD. So,
well, if we do what we usually do and have someone play him,
that's true. He could. Well, I guess there were a couple things.
We'll start with the other scene that doesn't have him in it, but if he's still not around by the time we finish it, we can have someone play him.
That's true. I think we pretty much had. Let's see here. I think Captain Ying.
And yeah, I was the ringleader, and then whoever else wanted to come, so everyone can decide that if they would be coming or not. But
Yeah. Basically, Harvey, the Amish settler, had agreed to take you to the most liberal dome on the asteroid and go have fun. I think around midnight. I think it was.
Yeah.
So Longveer is let's see here. Longveer is up in space with why can't I think of Phil's character's name right now? Theo. And you said Bryce is headed off to go to the NWOD, or?
Yeah, when he was awoken by Harvey, or whatever his name is, he probably would have realized, oh, it's midnight, and Theo is still with this NWOD, and wondered what was going on. So he'd be heading over there.
Okay, so you're going to the NWOD too, then. Okay.
Yeah.
It was basically me and Kazuko, assuming Kazuko even cares.
Or the doctor, too.
Yeah, the doctor is there.
Doctor who is here. I forgot about him.
Yeah, so we have the doc, and then Theo that'll need to be played, and everybody else is here, so that's cool. All right, so let's see here. We have Ying, Kazuko. I don't know who wants to play the doc. Who wants to do that? Any takers?
I'm voting for one of the Alexes.
Huh?
I'm voting for one of the Alexes to play.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
If you'd like.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I play Kazuko for a while.
Gotta share the lows.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so it's midnight, and Harvey has woken you up. You've been snuck out of the house. He actually oiled one of the hinges on one of the windows so that it wouldn't squeak. Apparently he's done this. He said he didn't do this before, but you get the feeling he might have been bending the truth a little bit.
Yeah.
You head out.
Really paranoid.
Maybe he's really scared of Alma's going to catch him.
Yeah.
So you snuck out, you and Kazuko and the doctor. You were outside of Alma's, and I guess I should describe this for David. This settlement is, if you think the term space Amish, you're pretty close to what it is. It's an asteroid with various domes on it, except this place has lots of soil, lots of green vegetation and trees and plants and flowers. The roofs of the domes right now have lights all over them, but they've all been turned off. There might be one light or two lights, in various places that refuse to turn off, but it's very dark. They're trying to emulate, the Earth standard night and day. You're walking basically on this rough-hewn stone path. It's like slate cobblestones. Close this here. Is that Phil? No, maybe not. Thought Phil was jumping in there. I guess not. So you're outside. It's dark. You're walking. Harvey basically just kind of, he doesn't even speak. He just sort of motions his hand that you can barely see. And he starts walking. Do you guys say anything to each other as you're walking?
Not when we're this close to the house. I'm trying to be quiet.
Okay.
I am carrying my sword again because if I'm going to get drunk, I might need to fight people. But I mean, who knows what the liberals here are like? So they might need to get stabbed. But
you're walking for a little ways, and then you get to the end of the dome. There doesn't appear to be any guards or anything, but there's like a keypad there that he types a code into.
right.
You catch the code is 347. He doesn't think he's trying to hide it or anything.
I can go on my own now. Yay.
You'll walk through this long underground tube that has like a dark orange tint to it. This looks, this is where the strange contrast is. You've gone from this rural, very, very like organic world. Now you're in a metal tube that is obviously of, it was crafted by Mavericks or something like that. The contrast is very striking. You'll see various religious phrases and verses written on the walls. And he seems to be more relaxed now that he's in the tunnel, now that he finally got out of the dome.
Mm-hmm.
Is the stuff written, scrawled on the walls kind of like graffiti-wise, or is it kind of done more meticulously, like with care and reverence? Or
there's like wooden signs that are hanging up.
Okay.
Words that are painted and spray painted, but they look like they were, they're level with the ground. Things like that. Don't stab your brother's eye. Things like that.
Okay.
Pluck out your own. Stuff like that. Just various religious phrases and so forth. Harvey's just sort of walking. He just looks back. So, what do you think you guys are going to do when you get there?
Well, that depends on what you have, but I mean, drinking is a fairly obvious thing. Munching, if there's munches about.
Oh,
There's pretty much the two main occupations in such an area.
Well, I've heard stories, but I'm not really all that sure about what's there.
Yeah, well, women and booze. That's pretty much it, unless you can find something more exotic.
I heard strange rumors about genetics, people having done strange things to themselves there.
Really?
It's probably just self-expression, if anything. It's probably nothing too bizarre.
I guess. I don't know. They're sort of the black sheep here. Not too many people go there, but I know the way. So you exit that tunnel. He enters another code, 543, and you enter the next one over. And there's a series of tunnels and tubes and things that he walks down. It seems that only these two have codes. Most of the other ones are pretty much just you put your palm up and it reads and scans your fingertips and it takes a little reading. And he walks through that one. You'll pass through some that have trees and some that are more evergreen oriented. Some are more deciduous. One you enter and it's just nothing but farms. It seems like some sort of commercial crop that they're growing. And then he gets in this long tunnel, and this one has more of a graffiti, beat up. There's like burn marks from like plasma fire. It looks a little bit more run down. There's fluid leaking out of various tubes, and wires are like kind of crackling, and they need repair. I think this is the way.
And here is the result of too much drinking.
You think that they just... What's it like to be drunk?
Well, it's not... The drunk part is quite enjoyable, but it's the after effects that can...
Yes, the next morning you go, why did you do that?
Which is why you have a lack of general upkeep and repair, and things begin to deteriorate.
So they fire at each other? Is that what you do when you're drunk?
if you're...
I look at the captain
vassal.
and look at the captain's sword and go, possibly. That does happen sometimes.
That is kind of what this is for, if people start trying to shoot me. But I don't encourage that many. I mean, we'll see.
You'll see some two people are walking. One has his arm over the other one. They appear to be mavericks, maybe from the crews, the cog crews that are out there repairing the NWOD. The one has a cybernetic, like the whole side of his face is just all cybernetic. It almost looks like half of his skull has been removed to make way for various technological gizmos. Oh, what do you got there? You got a little poker. You're gonna put some holes in some people.
Only if they try to put holes in me.
Oh, why is the light so fuzzy, bright?
Shrunk.
Hey, you're going that way?
Yeah.
Okay, now have fun.
Tim, is that guy armed
you
at
too.
all?
Yeah, the one has a plasma blaster on his hip. The other one has like this, just like looks like a metal club that's on his back.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe this isn't such a good idea. Even I'm having second thoughts and third.
Well, I have this, and I'm fairly good at using it, and I'd rather try a little risk than sit around with Alma glaring at me. So,
Are you guys still wearing your e-suits, or have you taken them off?
if I can, I take them off, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
we can take them off.
Okay. So you're what kind of dress are you in? What are you wearing?
I guess just like I'll have on, or Kazuko will have on loose-fitting, kind of like a type of almost like a linen, casual, almost like pajamas, almost, just very loose and kind of flowy.
Okay.
yeah, I would not have pajamas. I would have gotten somewhat dressed, but it would be casual stuff that doesn't, like, not a Gonjan uniform, because I don't want to walk into what I assume would be a Maverick place, and it appears to be correct, with a bunch of Gonjan symbols.
I'm picturing Kazuko wearing like a Snuggie for some reason. I know that's not right.
No, but
Just
almost
casual.
like I guess I could be kind of stereotypical about it, but I guess I was kind of actually imagining just like a casual, like jumpsuit of sorts.
Okay.
But it really does almost look like what is it called? A gi? Is that what it's called?
Okay.
Yeah, with the the loose belt that's cinched around his waist.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
How about the Doc? What's the Doc dressing as?
Yeah, I'm not sure what his normal attire is, but I was thinking that it's going to be something nice but not formal. Yeah, he just wants to be able to fit in with whatever the nightlife is, while still having some self-respect.
Bow tie. That would look good on the dock.
I'm not sure I can do that.
All right, you guys get a little bit further, and then there's just some more graffiti on the wall. Various warnings about don't lose your head. What else does it say? There's some like perversions of religious script. You'll see like that someone might have like put up like a holy text, and someone like scribbled it out and put like various blasphemous things here and there. There's blood splashed on one wall, so there's a pile of vomit.
So these people just have no self-control, or it seems like respect for the thoughts of others at all.
If
it's all.
Colt...
Pardon?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, if Colt can surreptitiously collect samples from the blood, that would be great.
Sure, yeah, you can collect up some vomit. There's others, various.
No. Anything he can just like take a scraping of without people noticing.
Okay, yeah, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
You'll get to the end of the tunnel, and there looks like there's a door here, but it no longer functions. It's just kind of like, it almost looks like it was like pushed open because the gear stopped working.
Okay.
And Harvey just continues in. He looks a little apprehensive. You notice he looks back at you several times, like he's like kind of fiddling with his blonde hair, like putting it behind his ear, getting it out of his eyes. He looks down. He's like cracking his knuckles every once in a while, things like that.
I suggest you stay out of here, because if we get you killed, Alma will kill me. So, and this is not the best place to get drunk. If you want to get drunk, go to just somewhere secluded. We can bring you beer and.
All right. Well, you know the way back. Maybe just bring me a bottle. Can you do that?
Sure.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, I don't want Alma to get in trouble. She's kind of nasty sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
I can handle this, but.
You guys be safe then.
Yeah. Well, that's what I have this for. Point to sword. I can stab things.
This dome will open up, and while it does have some shrubbery and some shrubs and some hedges here and there along the paths, there really doesn't seem like there's any farming, and it's kind of sparse. It looks like maybe this is one of the newest construction projects that they have worked on. It looks like they're moving soil and preparing things. It sort of has this like shanty town, like almost like rough Wild West kind of look to it. The buildings are still made out of wood, so it seems like they got the wood from the other tree farms and such to build things. But it's in a lot of disrepair. Even though it looks like the construction is new, it looks like it was very shoddy work, kind of thrown up quickly. There's various bars and it looks like commercial sort of buildings. There's lots of merchants and traders and things. And outside of the dome itself, you can see various landing pads, places where ships are docked. And it seems like there's a lot more ships here. On general glance, it seems that most of them are Maverick. You will catch a few Gonjan vessels out there, and even a few Earther ones.
This looks promising.
Yes.
Do we actually see any current ship traffic at all right now?
Right now, all the vessels are they're sitting. They're parked basically. But that's actually outside of the dome. You can just see it through the glass. There seem like there's some people on the roof of the dome that are constructing some lights. So yeah, you'll see some bulldozers and various like ex-Earther military vehicles that have been converted to farming. You'll see a few juggernauts that are just these round wheeled vehicles that sort of balance on the one wheel. But you see that they have plows and they're dragging things, almost sort of like pack horses, I guess, or like a large horse that you can pull a plow behind. So this has sort of like a strange mix that isn't evident in the other domes.
All right. Well, Kazuko turns to the captain and he says, "Okay, we're following your lead. Which way do we? Which way are we going?"
Well, I'll go up to various buildings and try and find one that looks like a bar or something.
Okay, you see one that says Franny's Widget.
That's good.
And hold on, guys, I'll be right back. Keep going. Make stuff up.
Okay.
How about that one there?
Yeah, sure. I'll go into it.
Promising enough.
Yes. And I guess he wants to be temporary GM for this. Well, if we're making stuff up.
Okay, well, it's Franny's Widget, so I guess it could be pretty much a rundown, kind of decrepit looking entryway to the place.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess we can see a few kind of never-do-well characters kind of hanging out front maybe just checking us out as we get closer to the doorway. And Kazuko will he'll respectfully nod to them, which is something that they're probably not very used to, and they kind of look taken aback a little bit. And at that, he'll swing the door open quickly and beckon you guys in,
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys can go on in, and he'll come in behind you and close the door behind him real quick.
Yeah. I make a beeline for the bar and just lay down whatever currency I have that I think people might accept, and grab a big fistful of bottles and just carry it back to you.
Okay, are we going to get a take?
I'm trying to avoid people as much as possible here. So, here, I'll go grab us enough for a whole night, and we can just avoid these assholes and not die.
Okay, so we're pretty much just trying to get the stuff and get out. Is that our?
Oh yeah. If the people had looked more promising, I would have tried to look for a girl, because I know if I do anything with Alma's daughters, I'm dead, and if I don't, I'm going to go crazy. So, but now I'm like, well, the only people here are going to be hookers, and I have some standards, so I'll just get some booze and leave.
Are we still gonna look around some more, even though we've got the booze, or? We
can look around while we're drinking and whatever, because
we're doing
singing in the middle of the night. With a bunch of empty bottles, I think she'll still kill us.
Okay.
But I'm trying to hide in the corner and not mingle with the people, because also I know they're all mavericks and I'm not. So, even more, if they're all drunk, they're more likely to be pissed off if there's a Gonjin here. So, I will look around. If there looks like there's anybody who isn't being a drunken asshole, I might approach them, but otherwise I'll assume anybody that I approach is likely to try and shoot me.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can after you grab the alcohol, the bottles, we can I guess make another beeline and get out of here, and then kind of do the I guess what would typically be called the Mardi Gras thing, and kind of make our way through the other pedestrians or whatever that are in this shanty town, and kind of keep an eye out and see who we run into.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Well, for one thing, Kazuko, he kind of is taking note of the different people that we're kind of passing by, and he kind of makes it a point not to make too much eye contact. He's by nature he's fairly friendly, even when it does him no good, and kind of due to the past things that he's gone through, he's kind of learned that sometimes individuals can take that as kind of someone kind of what do you call it, invading their space, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he'll kind of nod here and there, not really smile too much, because I think everybody that we see, they either appear to be kind of either very intoxicated or in the throes of maybe a hangover, which their attitude isn't the most pleasant anyway. So he doesn't want to get us in an impromptu fight or anything like that either.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he'll just kind of make note of the different types of characters that we're kind of passing by and passing through and everything. And I guess as we walk through the crowd, I guess we'll just kind of hear different snatches of conversations and snippets of different type of music, or even arguments or stuff that's going on in the various buildings that we pass by, kind of, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah. And it looks like Tim is back now. So.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
All right. I'll shut up now. Okay.
So what happened? What'd you guys do? Did you walk through town?
We went into the bar. I grabbed a bunch of bottles, and then we just started wandering through the streets.
Okay.
And Colt is now starting to wonder what the captain's idea of a good night out is.
Well, not dying would be a major part of it. Like I said before, I would have looked for a girl or something because I know that if I do something with Alma's daughters, I will die, and if I don't, I will go crazy. But it looks like everybody here is drunk or in a hangover and likely to kill the first Ganjin they see. So I'm just trying to avoid them until I see somebody that looks like they aren't glaring daggers at everyone.
You're going to see a pretty fancy place as you continue to walk. There is the front of the building is actually just a giant fish tank, and it's very thick, some sort of see-through metal or glass. You're not really sure. Inside, you'll see that there are 3 naked women, but they have been modified genetically so that they actually have gills, various fins, scales on them in some cases. Their eyes seem like they've been modified in some way. Some of them have cybernetic implants. Some of them have other appendages that you can't even identify.
Okay.
That's very interesting. Kazuko will definitely kind of wander a little bit towards that way so we can get a better look. And he's just amazed at the extent of the modification that they've gone through, the genetic modification. And that's really, he'd love to actually have a conversation with one of them, but he kind of tears himself away so that he doesn't get left behind.
I would wander over there too, just out of morbid fascination of this is horrific.
Out of the Box is the name of the establishment. There's a doorway that's just a circle that is like this tube, like a glass tube that looks like you have to crawl through to get to the front of the building, inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, do you see this? Isn't that the most amazing thing you've ever seen, ever?
Amazing. Yeah, that's it.
Some of the girls have strange pigment of blues and pinks and oranges. Like translucent skin almost.
Kazuko puts one hand up to the glass, and one of the other, he'll call them mermaids, he wants to see if she'll put her hand up so we can see if she's got the hands that have the membrane, between the fingers and stuff.
Yeah, one will swim over, and she will actually do the same thing. She sort of blinks. The eyes, there's no pupils whatsoever. They just have this strange, you can tell she has multiple eyelids. There's just sort of this jade green color. That's like a solid color, and she's one hand is on the glass, the other was swimming. The body's moving. There's various plants and sea type creatures that are walking around on the base, the bottom.
Doc, do you see this? Isn't this just fantastic?
The doctor's already looking in through this tube or tunnel and just itching to go in and find out exactly what sort of a place this is.
You'll see this artistic calligraphy writing that sort of spirals down the tube. It says, "Out of the ordinary. Leave the real world behind. Experience irreality."
Oh yeah. This is the place, guys. Let's,
Okay.
All right. So be it.
Really, where else?
So who crawls in first? Is it the doc?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. As you're walking, you'll start to get these strange sensations. In various places, it seems like there's almost an electromagnetic thing that makes maybe your skin sort of perk up in strange places. You feel a low current. Another time, there'll be wind blowing on your face or your arm, depending on where the air hits you. And the tube will start to bend and go down, and it turns into a slide. And you're probably at the top of it.
Okay.
All right, well, go with it. Go with the flow.
Yeah, I think that he's curious enough that he'll just have to.
Experience the surreal. The journey begins. And the dock just inches forward and slides down?
Yep.
Okay. The other two will see the dock quickly descend, and eventually the lights go out, so he's sliding in darkness. So he'll disappear from sight.
Okay, I'll look at the captain and say, okay, well,
Yeah, he seems to have taken the lead here, so we'll follow him.
Will you remember? Okay. Will you experience the vast nature of the things in the unknown?
All right, I'll slide down.
Okay. Okay, Kazuka goes next, and same thing. He slides down quickly and vanishes into darkness.
I'll take back. Like, take another drink. Like, I need more. I need to be drunker before I can tolerate this. Okay, now I'll go.
You'll never want to leave.
Yeah, shut up.
And does Captain slide down next?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I drink the rest of my whatever bottle I was nursing, and then I slide down.
You're sliding down for a lot longer than you would expect. The ride lasts about 10 minutes of sliding, and the tube changes direction, and it's at first it's in darkness, and eventually you'll start to see very low light of varying hues and colors that is appearing. It seems like the glass itself is glowing in places. You'll hear various noises like wah 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 wah. As you slide down, various, it almost seems like a strange sort of like acid trip. At some points, you'll break through a plastic membrane that's looks like it's been oiled up or waxed. Various things will slap into your face. At some point, it feels like you hit into like a bunch of like tentacles that were hanging down in the tube that like slap you in the face and you get down your arms. And eventually you splash down into about a vat of probably about 15 feet deep of liquid.
Oh, wow. Okay. That was unexpected. Okay.
So
you just got slime, guys.
Your heads kind of break the surface, and you look around, and the water seems to be this light blue color that you can only see about maybe 6 inches down into it before the dyes, you're assuming, make it impossible to see. But every once in a while you'll feel something bump against your leg, something swimming down there maybe.
Okay.
As you look around, there's this strange sort of seashore that has various rocky outcroppings and sand. There's some pine trees and things that all look fake, and they're planted upside down. It looks really kind of bizarre. Like they're at strange angles in places. The surface of whatever room you're in, it has a sort of like dome-like appearance. And there's various letters and numbers that are all jumbled together in strange angles. And that is the surface. You see a small-looking, like shanty hut with a large door that's covered in neon letters and lights. It says "out of the box" above it.
All right. Kazuko will try to dog paddle his way to the shore towards that shack. And is the dock over there yet, or is he anywhere to be seen?
He's making his way. I mean, he'd at least, turn his head as he's moving there to make sure you guys made it. But,
okay, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, he's just kind of taking it all in. And he's curious about these trees on the shore and seeing if they actually are fake or if they're some sort of modification to the plant.
They look like they're completely fake, the plants.
Okay. And I don't like he'll make his way towards the cabin.
Please walk forward to experience the glories of Out of the Box. You walk on the sand, and it seems like the sand is actually pretty shallow. There seems like there's some metal surface that's beneath the sand, so it's not that hard to get to the bottom of it. You'll see like various seashells that look synthetic. They look plastic. The out of the box building is ahead of you. It has like this sort of thatched I don't know, wild looking plant leaves. They don't look like grass or hay or anything. And the entranceway is like completely opaque. You're not exactly sure what's causing that effect, but it seems like there's like a plane of darkness that you would have to walk through to enter.
All right,
Okay.
well.
They're kind of overdoing it a little bit.
No, it's all about the experience.
I basically surrendered to the conveyor belt of weird at this point, so. So I'm like, not that I'm completely immune to shock, because you never get, with stuff this weird, you never get to that point, but you're just kind of not reacting to it overtly. Like, whatever, I'll keep going until stuff happens.
All right, so you guys are moving forward, walking on the sand. You'll see about 2 different faces that appear out of the water, and the same thing. The eyes have been modified; they're covered in scales. These 2 are male, however.
Okay.
And they are you going in?
I shrug.
Would you rather swim with us?
No.
Suit yourself. And then their heads will go under the water again.
Wait. We might go in. I was just hoping to see what you guys could tell us about this place. I'm cool, by the way.
One will
extends its hand.
One will swim up to the shore and reach out the hand. It's has the membranes between the fingers. It seems like one of the fingers has been surgically removed, namely the pointer finger.
Surgically. Interesting.
What we can tell you about this place. So, joys and experiences lie within. What do you seek?
Well, I was just interested in what you do here.
One of the arms will sort of caress your elbow and up towards your palm.
Careful, Doc.
Oh, well, I didn't quite mean.
Have you ever done it in the water?
In any case, nice to meet you. He shakes the hand very firmly and releases it. I think that we're more up for just taking a look around before making any decisions.
Well, if you should change your mind, we'll be underneath. The rhythm of the water is quite soothing.
Thank you. I'm sure it is.
The head will duck back under the water, sort of going backwards. And there's the hut.
Okay, Colt is looking at his hand and seeing if he can pick off any traces of this, like if he left scales behind. Or,
oh wow!
You know,
there is a strange scale that seems like it's been like stuck to like right below your wrist. It has a little bit of a microchip appearance underneath it.
Ah, very interesting. Okay, that's going back to the med lab later.
It has a little flashing light that starts to sort of appear.
Yeah, he may be looking into that now. He'll pull it out, obviously, if he can.
As soon as you touch it, this image will sort of the holographic image will come out and sort of hover above your hand of the specimen that you had just talked with, and there seems like there's communication information, his number essentially.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah, that's a business card, Doc.
You'll see this maverick comes just sort of stumbling out of the blackness. He's covered in what appears to be some sort of foamy residue. He has like this stupid grin on his face, and he's chuckling. Cue John.
Hi, what are you doing here?
I'm just acting surly and trying to hide.
Hey, are we the only ones here?
No, there are many people here, all around. Can't you see them? He kind of like flings his hand and that gooey stuff just flings around.
Oh yeah, we see them all around. Are they all friends of yours or what?
Friends, yes, you are friends too. And he kind of steps forward and grabs a hold of you, trying to like usher you in. Let's all go back in.
I'll kind of shrink away from him a little bit, but allow myself to be kind of herded through because Kazuko thinks that foam is some kind of like topical stimulant or whatever, and I don't know if I want any yet. You know, it looks like it's pretty strong, it's toxic even, but he'll go through.
Experience the unnatural delights of out of the box.
Oh, we will. Let's go. Kind of like just forward some more.
His attitude is infectious, though. Starting to sound like a better and better idea.
Yeah.
You get hints, like he kind of has a hint of a smell of wafts of like peanut butter and then chocolate, and then it jumps to cinnamon. Then he kind of stops and he goes, "Where we go, friends? How did I not see you here?"
You'll see a very shapely leg come out of the blackness of the door. It seems like she has had 3 toes removed, and in their place is sort of this weird squiggling like octopus-like tentacle.
Ugh. Like every time I see something like that, I'm like, oh, good, but finally a woman that might be worth. Oh God.
Now, does it look grafted on, or is there some sort of gene therapy involved?
The doctor notices that there was some grafting, but you think there has been some gene therapy as well. There's some sort of hybrid life form.
You have to appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into that, Captain.
There she is. She's magnificent.
But the leg is shapely. There's some definition of the muscles. It seems like she works out a lot. But the leg sort of pops back into the darkness where you can't see it.
Yes. Well, I've given up on finding any proper human women here.
So who goes in first? Does anybody go in?
I'll go in, sure. Let's
right.
see what we got. Let's see what we get into here.
Well, so Kazuko vanishes from sight. So the doctor and Bryce are left, and your strange new associate.
Our drugged out Mad Hatter.
Kazuko has gone through. He'll spin around and go, "Friends, come in! Hurry, before it's all taken."
Well, when you put it that way, Colt steps through as well. He's just too tempted to take a look around, if anything.
You notice as you pass him, he kind of stares at you, and you notice that he has no pupils. His eyes are just white. He grins and then turns to the captain. "Come, young man, enter."
Yeah, I will go last, but I will follow people. Really don't want to be alone in this place, so like I might not want to go to whatever the next area is, but if everybody else is.
What does your face look like? Are you eyeing up this strange person? Are you ignoring him? Describe that.
Basically, a perpetual look of shock and horror. It's changing every time I encounter a part of a beautiful woman. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe my expression starts to change, and then I notice like octopus tentacles or fish scales. So, like I go back to being horrified.
Okay. All right. So the doctor goes in. Inside there's just this bizarre. You're just overwhelmed with activity. There are hoses spraying this strange chemical at various locations all over the place. This is a massive room of varying levels. It seems that they've messed with grav drives in weird, strange ways so that gravity pulls you towards the outer surfaces of this giant spherical, mostly, room with varying different angled floors. It sort of looks like an M.C. Escher drawing or painting, but on all of the levels there's beds and pools and jacuzzis, and there's a varying array of colored flesh that you see in various poses and things going on. It seems that all of the women and men that are working here have had some sort of modification done to them. Either some limb has been removed or some part of them has been attached. There's strange symbiotic creatures that have been, implanted or stitched to them. It seems that this is sort of like a strange fetish place of addition and subtraction. But you're automatically just sprayed by this strange chemical. It's like this white foamy substance that's coming out of the roof, and you can give me a willpower roll, I guess. You're saving against having fun. And you're gonna have a 2 dice penalty because this is a fun place.
The cult was already having fun.
Well, the chemicals will take their sway over you, basically.
Okay, I just got 1 success. So.
Okay, well, you managed to resist it, so whatever the effects of the medicine, the drug is.
Kazuko is still really, this is almost like a textbook environment for him, and he's really intrigued as to why the attendants, or the workers here, how and why they actually got into this line of business almost. That's the way he's looking at it. So he kind of just goes, picks a direction and goes to it, and as opposed to trying to just enjoy himself and just fall into the flavor of things, he's almost like interrogating this one woman as to, well, what brought you here, and how do do you enjoy this, and he's just babbling out a bunch of questions at her right now.
She looks like sort of like she's in the middle of some high. Her eyes are like fluttering. Oh, of course I enjoy it. It's so pleasurable. Sometimes it's too much, but come sit here beside me. Plug your flesh port in right there, and you'll experience all that I am. Oh.
Okay. He is overwhelmed, and he kind of just looks around like, okay, what? And
you'll see lots of flesh port plugins in various places.
Okay, all right, okay.
And they have that new technology as well.
Okay. He kind of sniffs at the foam or whatever, just to kind of, well, what is this stuff? And looks at the kind of texture of it and everything. And then he kind of shrugs and plasters some of it on one, kind of takes his hands like he's putting cologne on and does it like that over his face.
It smells like 3 different things. What does it smell like to you?
He's still getting the scent of the peanut butter, the chocolate, and the cinnamon. I'll go with that. Okay. Yeah. So he dives in more or less. He's like, okay, this may be interesting.
All right, so you splash down into the liquid where the woman is, and she wraps her legs around you and pulls you closer. You see that at first you're like, well, what's so different about this woman? You'll see that her chest, all of the skin looks like it's been removed, and it's coated in this like fine, almost like otter fur.
Okay.
And she brings your face up and just sort of roughly like puts your head there, and you feel like that strange little like prickling sensation of all the various hairs.
Okay.
It's prickly and then soft.
Okay. While this is going on, Kazuko is wondering. He goes. I wonder if this foam or whatever it is could kind of aid in meditation in some kind of sense, maybe to get people to let their guard down and just to relax a little bit. And he kind of allows himself to kind of just be pulled into the moment.
All right. Well, she'll actually reach over if she sees your flesh port, and
oh gosh,
she attempts to plug you in. Do you resist?
You know what? Yeah, I think he would. I don't know. He does. Yeah, he would. He doesn't know exactly what that's all about.
Yeah, she's actually using her left foot to.
He'll kind of coyly, kind of maybe fend her off a little bit, and hopefully she'll kind of give up on that in a moment. If not,
you playing hard to get. Come on, let me plug you in.
He goes, no,
you don't know what you're missing.
No, I'm fine, and this I'll say your fur is quite quite soft. I'm just enjoying that for right now. Is there anything I can get to drink?
Oh, of course. And she'll reach over her right hand and sort of just press down this button, and this bot will start to move over. It's covered in foam, and it's like stained with all kinds of different colors, and it looks like it just I don't know. There's a sort of feeling you get that this thing does its job but isn't very excited about it. Drink?
Yeah, it's mundane. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, all the time. Yep.
What do you wish?
Some type of, if possible, some type of Maverick brandy.
You get sprayed with with brandy. This little hose sort of like comes out and angles up and just sprays it towards your face.
Nice.
And covers your face. What is the doctor and what are you guys doing in response to seeing Kazuko dive face first into all this?
Well, the doctor made his save, so I don't know if he's having too much fun. But he's actually going to turn to the guy without pupils, and ask, so, do you run this place, or do you work here?
With his pupilless eyes, he kind of has a huge grin, and he's like, come into the room. And he kind of reaches for your hand. Do you let him?
Oh, yeah, he'll totally take his hand and sort of shake it, just as an introduction type thing.
He grabs your hand, and he kind of grips it strongly, not too strong, and he kind of takes a couple steps and kind of leaps into the air, almost surprising to you, where you expect he's just going to fall down the staircase and crash into his face. But then maybe as he starts to fall a couple inches, his body just kind of leaps into the center of the room and launches around, and bounces around like a pinball. Like gravity of the room seems to morph and change as he's in the center, and you kind of get tugged along for the ride.
You're getting sprayed by various fluids as he's moving around the room. All the different jets. There's a vibrant green liquid that sprays you like right in the eye. Why don't you make me another willpower roll with the 2 dice penalty?
See, John, see.
1 success.
Okay. You resist the effects of the drugs.
At this point, Colt is just wondering, like, does this man's skin feel different? Is there, like, an extra elasticity? I'm just wondering if his movement was strange beyond just the gravity shift.
No, the only thing was, like, what would have seemed strange was that he kind of leapt without fear. But, I mean, he knew he wasn't going to crash into the floor. You don't know if he knows that at this point, but he didn't seem to care. And his skin feels very soft and slimy.
You'll see a woman that has like an elephant's trunk for an arm.
That's
she has like
dazzling on so many levels.
she has this vibrant red hair, very sensuous looking. She seems like she's massaging the back of this maverick who's taken off all of his implants. He's like missing an arm and a leg, and she's sort of like holding him with her left arm and just like spinning around in this vat of viscous blue fluid.
So, what do you use the flesh ports for? He's gonna see if he can get a response out of the guy with the pupils. It doesn't, he's losing hope, but...
You're talking, all you hear, he's like, and he just keeps bouncing in the room, dragging you along. And you notice that the music has stopped, and it's kind of like really heavy, like boom, boom, boom. And a couple other people have kind of leapt into the air, and they start bouncing around the room.
You also notice that in various places, it seems like as you move, there is music that you only hear one form of music though. It's like you almost like if you move to this section, all the other sounds and music from another section is completely blocked off. It's almost like, oh, you're listening to this one song that's upbeat and more like industrial and heavy, and then you'll go into another one that's very like Celtic and soothing. Somehow they seem to have used acoustics to isolate songs and keep them separate from one another, so it's not jumbling together and making this chaotic cacophony. But everywhere you look, there's all these strange people that have gone through some genetic manipulation. You'll see a woman that has a torso, and her lower half has been replaced by a large snake of some sort, and she has 3 men that are looking like they're being crushed, but they have smiles on their faces, and that their flesh ports are firmly plugged into the machine.
And build is safe, so given that he was basically primarily came here to get laid, suddenly the women become much more attractive and less repulsive. And we'll somebody tomorrow go, what the hell did I do?
So what sort of hybrid woman does Captain Ying find himself attractive to?
Well, we've had fish and cat, or fur, and snake, so what kind of thing have we not had? I don't know, cow, maybe.
So Captain Ying finds himself, he moves his way over to this woman that has like cow udders on her stomach. She has replaced her feet with hooves. She has this strange bell around her neck that has like nipples with some sort of like liquid inside around her neck. And she has grasps the captain and pulls him close and just shoves one of her udders into his mouth and starts to have her way with the captain.
Okay, so I will be doing that for the foreseeable future, and then wake up tomorrow going like throwing up repeatedly and trying to get this out of my mouth.
Lactose intolerant?
Or
So Kazuko's flying around. The doctor is hanging out with Otter Woman, and the captain is drinking his his fill of milk of various types. So
you're gonna switch the doctor and Colt.
Yeah.
Colt's flying around.
Oh, okay. That's right, Kazuko. He's the one.
Yeah, Kazuko's rubbing the furry.
So this happens for quite some time. You'll see that every once in a while the levels of the dome change and shift. And after some time, it seems like, I guess, it's closing time. So everyone sort of starts to be unplugged by the bot. It just moves around the various levels and you're done. You're done. You're done. Charges will be accepted soon at the exit desk. So after probably about 4 hours of entertainment, of the pleasures of the strange flesh, you'll see that the people that have been, being soothed and comforted and manipulated and touched are sort of making their way out, but they're going out a different exit, not the one that you had entered in. there seems like there's some elevator structure that they're walking into. It's very large. You think about 50 people can go into it, and after about 6 of them, so there's a lot of people in here, you eventually make your way up. Everyone sort of has this like drugged out, hazy sort of look in their eyes. Some of them have very big bags around their eyes as though they were here maybe longer than they should have. You're not really sure. Maybe it's just some strange effect of the drug. And as you're in the elevator moving up, there's not a lot of conversation. It's just like, oh, like kind of like, oh, kind of noises from everyone.
Sitting in the corner.
Before everyone headed up the elevator, or as people were starting to leave, I think Colt would have sort of casually walked around the room, kind of looking at the different stations, looked curiously at the flash ports, surreptitiously swab them, move on to the next one, and just sort of take the place in.
Okay. Collect genetic samples as much as he can.
Yeah. He'll do his browsing through the data later.
When you're doing so, one of the girls in the vats, the one with the blue liquid, the one with the snake body, she sort of wraps her tail quickly around your hand, and pulls your hand towards her mouth, and she sort of like swirls her tongue around the swab that you're using, and then she lets go. You know where to find me.
I'm glad I do. He just sort of lightly runs his finger under her chin and starts walking away.
So eventually you guys have gotten to the top, and the door opens up, and it seems like all the lights have been turned on now. It's simulated morning.
Bright, too bright.
Yeah, it's sort of, those that were affected by the drug and have a strange sort of milky aftertaste in their mouth probably think that the lights are very bright. So Captain Ying.
Milky
I started heading back because I'm like, oh fuck, we need to get home. And then I remember as I'm walking by, just through the streets, that I promised that kid to bring back some beer, so I just grab one out of somebody's hand.
They're so drugged out that they don't resist. A lot of them just sort of like sit on the ground, like right outside of the place. You'll see like literally like 100 people that are just like stoned or going through some sort of hangover process. People are puking on each other. And
yeah. Well, I'm not taking any drinks from the people who came out of the weird club. I'm just like, as I walk by somebody who looks like they're more of a normal drunk, I will take. Because I'm not giving, well, God knows what weirdness to the not after traumatized me so badly.
You'll see that the girls that are outside seem like they're still in the container, that the giant fish tank on the front, but they've sort of have like these shutters that they close on the outside, and it seems like they're resting. So you can go up and like barely, if you look down at an angle, you can see in, but other than that, it seems like they want their privacy during the day.
Well, it looks like we've definitely experienced the most that we could here.
Oh yeah, this was an excellent idea, Captain. Thank you.
Okay, you ready to head back?
I already have started to, like...
Oh, okay.
Doing the walk of shame.
The walk of shame, right, yeah.
Causing fresh.
So Captain Ying's doing like his power walk like he did before?
Yeah.
Well, I'm ultimately power walking and vomiting.
The strange, like, piles of milky substance will be left in his wake.
Okay, all right.
Sort of has like an oily, floating top to it.
Carefully follow behind.
8 dogs come by, lick it up. It's weird.
We'll run scans on you guys later. Don't worry.
Please.
I'm sure you're fine.
Kazuko has like these brush burns on his face. So you eventually make it back to Alma's, or you headed straight to the ship?
Oh, we have our stuff at Alma's. I promised to give the kid beer, etc. So
Okay.
we're heading back to Alma's and just trying to sneak in through the window again and hope that she isn't awake yet or doesn't notice.
You'll see that the Alma has her hands on her hips as you're crawling in through the window. Uh-huh. And where were you, mister?
I didn't say anything about elsewhere. In fact, if I said anything, it was that I would confine the trouble to elsewhere.
Are you ready for breakfast? Did you work up an appetite last night?
I think he looks pretty full. But no, I'm sure he can. I'm certainly ready.
Full? What did you eat?
I just kind of glare at Bryce like, shut up,
That's cool.
shut up.
You'll see that Harvey is sort of in the next room over. He's sitting in this chair, and he keeps like nervously looking over towards, like you'll see him looking over like past Alma at you guys, and he sort of makes his face like, yeah, we got caught.
I look back like, stop doing that. And again, give this like admonishing glare like, not helping, shut up.
So does everyone crawl into the window, or?
Oh yeah, if we can get some breakfast out of it, sure.
I think Colt at this point may just walk around in front.
Okay.
Oh, okay. After we get caught, yeah. Okay.
So you'll see the large wooden table and the various rough crafted glass cups and silverware. It's all been laid out for you. Bessie and Velma are there setting the table. Harvey looks like he's in some sort of like timeout chair or something. You're not really sure, but he's not helping.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't really care about him anymore. I have a hangover to worry about.
You'll smell fresh baked pancakes and maple syrup, various pork products that have been fried up.
Not helpful.
Does the smell make
One around here this state.
Does the smell make Captain Ying's stomach a little nervous?
Yeah, well, like really rich, fatty, and sugary food like that is the worst thing for an upset stomach. So yeah, I try to like just constantly making swallowing motions, trying to prevent myself from vomiting again. And then when she presents food, I like try to pretend to eat it so I don't get too much of a lecture. But
well, you'll sit down to the ones that sit down have a big meal of buttered pancakes and smothered in syrup and sausage and bacon and so forth.
Okay, that's enough, Tim. Killing me.
Delicious.
Yeah, really.
I like nibble on. I try to take a couple bites of everything and then I like nibble on some bacon so that I can seem like I'm eating, so she doesn't yell at me.
Well, breakfast goes by pretty quickly. The girls are quiet. It seems like they are less talkative today for some reason. You're not really sure why.
Probably got yelled at.
So, outside in space, I guess we'll switch things up. Sadly, Phil isn't here yet. He must still be sleeping. So we have Longveer out there. We have Theo. I'm trying to think if we could get everyone else in here in some way or fashion. Who feels like playing Theo?
Okay, I can, I guess.
Okay. So David play Theo. How about Alex? You feel like playing Faceplate? Think you could pull him off? Yeah.
Well, Bryce is on his way.
Oh, I guess right. Bryce is going to be there. So how about Alakov? How about you play Faceplate, if you remember? He's sort of like this cocky kind of idiot.
I remember him.
Okay. I guess I never actually described him. He literally, you can't see his face. He just has this like metal covering.
Yeah, he figured.
Sort of like one of that, the guy who leads Cobra from Giant Eagle, or not Giant Eagle, the G.I. Joes. Giant Eagle. It's funny. Giant Eagle's actually a shopping center out here. I don't know why I said that. I'm tired.
Hail Hydra. I don't know.
His face looks like a shopping center now. So we'll set the scene that last time Theo and Longbeard had set this up so that Pawn was in this strange sort of isolated virtual reality room, I believe, where she was going to try to contact and talk to the AI of the NWOD. So Theo has just done that. He has pushed the button. Pawn has been injected, and you're not sure what's happening. You're sort of looking down at this round circular device. That face of the NWOD is there, sort of looking at you, and that's all that's happening.
Do we have any contact with Pawn at all still, or no? Are we cut off?
At the moment, you're completely cut off.
Okay. All right. And then is Longbeard here?
Longbeard and Theo are here looking.
Okay.
Faceplate had just said, if things go badly, just shoot it.
Okay.
And not knowing what the repercussions of that would be, but that's what Faceplate said. And all the workers and cogs that were on the NWOD's surface have been evacuated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
okay. Well,
we'll say that Bryce just comes up at this moment too.
Okay. All right.
I'm having difficulty contacting Pawn. What's going on?
Everything's been activated, and she's in.
In where?
You know, in.
Points at the bot.
Oh God! Please tell me you set up safeties. Okay.
Yeah, we set up all the normal protocols, and we use a Kaizen algorithm to use the block.
So there's no way anything can go wrong.
Just so you know too, is when you look in, I guess you see Longbeard has his arms jammed into the place where, where the AI resides. He has his hands in there. You can't really see what he's doing. Then there are cords coming out to the small box that they're using as the neutral territory for the two AIs to communicate, and that's what Theo is holding. So just picture Longbeard always looking over his shoulder, talking to you.
The word nothing appears on the faceplate or the little monitor where the NWOD's face is.
Sorry, the word.
The word nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, we had some strange sort of technological hiccup there.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It's been repeating some words over and over again. I think one of the last one was destroy, and that was why we decided to plug Pawn in. So Bryce, I don't know if you would have a better chance. I don't.
A better chance of
you weren't
what?
here. We didn't know you were coming. Otherwise, we would have probably waited for you to get.
Well, you've locked her in there now.
She is in now. She can get in out on her own. They can both leave that safety zone. They just can't pass through to the next zones. And the AI is not plugged into the NWOD. It doesn't have control of the NWOD that we know of. We know that there's one cord that it wants us to plug in, but we haven't plugged it in yet.
Rice is just sort of walking around and appraising the situation. Is the NWOD broadcasting anything wirelessly, or is it all kind of closed circuit?
There's nothing coming from it. It's been locked in. They didn't even know where it was until Theo found it.
Yeah, it's completely hardwired though, and it probably has like its own protective Faraday cage prevent from EMP or anything. I'm guessing.
Right.
I don't know if you can tap into the box to read what Pawn and the AI are communicating.
I could try if we splice, but I'm not sure how it will take to that, or even this is a gamble. How long have you decided to give her before you...
We gave her an hour,
Okay.
which is a huge amount of time, I would think, for AIs to communicate. So we get another 20 minutes at the most.
I'll go in if she's not out by then.
What's going on down there? Did you guys make any headway? You'll see a message from the ex-Earther that's been plugged into the head of the NOBOT. I didn't evacuate.
Oh, well, why did you not evacuate?
It's I just didn't. I'm all plugged in.
Yeah, you were supposed to be unplugged.
Well, I'm not. Is everything all right down there? Did you kill it?
Oh, not yet. We should be able to do that real soon. Could you hold a second? And Theo, sorry, Longbeard turns off the communicator and looks at Theo and Bryce. He doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like the same guy that we spoke to before.
What on earth, for what reason would he have not to evacuate, though?
He had already started evacuating when we left. Something must have stopped him, or he went back for some other reason.
You'll feel the NOBOT start to move.
Of course it does. God damn it. Well, Theo, perhaps you should get in touch with Faceplate. Find out what's going on out there. Because we're kind of all cramped inside the belly of this thing, right? We can't even...
Yeah, you're in like this small compartment. The panels have been like removed and attached like via magnets, I'm guessing. Yeah. But yeah, it's the whole NOBOT is moving, not just the arms.
Okay. All right, so Theo will back out of there and see if he can get to some communication panel or something or whatever to get in contact with them and see what's going on.
There's probably communication panels right there where you are.
Okay, all right.
But
okay.
It seems like it's detached itself from where it was hooked up.
Really? It's detached itself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you are in the belly of the beast, as it were.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, would probably be more efficient for Theo to maybe see if he can find a different panel as opposed to trying to rig something up, maybe, since time is of the essence, I would think.
So well, while this is going on, Faceplate sees that the NOBOT that he didn't expect to move is moving. He's probably in a ship with his his friends, his workers, looking out the panel. And you can contact these guys. They've been contacting you. So what does Faceplate see or do when he sees that his prize thing that he acquired is now moving?
Are you doing that? Is this on purpose?
Not at all.
Well, my Earther friend doesn't seem to be able to fix it. So, what do we do now?
This is amazing, the way it feels when I move.
Bryce is within range of him to sense his thoughts, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, he's going to use past thoughts on him.
Okay. You get this strange sort of pile of emotions and thoughts. He seems like he was an ex-Earther Signet spy. He's not currently employed by them. But he doesn't really want to help out Faceplate. He wants to take the NOBOT for himself. And it seems like that is what he's doing right now. He did evacuate, but when no one was looking, he doubled back and plugged himself back in. It seems like he was pretending like the NOBOT couldn't move, like he could just move his arms, but he's known that he can control the whole thing for about a week.
Oh, great.
And it seems like he is taking his opportunity to try to make the NOBOT fully functional and leave.
All right, Bryce is just going to very quickly turn to the others and say the Earther's trying to take it for himself. And he busts out some extra cables and starts Trying to hook himself into the system so he can counter hack.
Okay. So Bryce is splicing and shoving stuff into his head.
The Space Blaze is going, just shoot it. I told you to shoot it.
You'll see the face on the AI monitor just goes black. And you'll see Pawn's face.
No. On the AI that I'm holding in my hands?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That little device that Theo had set up. And
Okay.
that and also the face where the other AI's face was, the monitor. And she's smiling.
That's odd. Bryce, Han's face is on both these things now.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's a good thing.
Right?
I'm trying to hook in. Hopefully I'll be able to establish contact with her soon and see what's happening.
From the arm of the Nobot, 5 missiles eject and fire towards the various cog ships that are there. Faceplate's ship isn't one of them, but ships on either side of his vessel just are completely annihilated. They just erupt into these just huge flames that burn out momentarily after they happen, you know, when the oxygen is depleted.
She just starts screaming at them, shoot it, goddammit, I told you to shoot it before it blows us all up.
It'll start to move into like an attack position.
Bryce, how long do you need?
I'm in.
Oh, he's already in. All right.
Well, I mean, unless you wanna, he'll blow action without thoughts if he has to get extra actions to accomplish this quickly.
Okay, that works. So it seems like the Earther is about to shoot another volley of these missiles at the cogs, and why don't you make me like a hacking roll?
Okay.
I guess that'd be intelligence plus what, computer, specialty hacking, I guess the right way.
Yep.
Okay.
And he will also burn a point of willpower.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 of them exploded.
Oh, nice. Jeez.
5.
All right. So, in Thea's terms, you managed to. Well, what was your attempt? You're trying to take away controls from him and give you control?
Yes, as quickly as possible. Yeah.
Well, with that and your speed of thought and all those powers that you have, you are now in control of the Nobot. You feel all the various weapon systems and self-destruct and all of these things that are at your fingertips. It's sort of there's lots of power at your fingertips at this moment.
I think that he's forcing himself to think fast enough that he's going to, without hesitation, use one of the Nobots have hands, yes?
Yes,
He's going to force one in through its cockpit and throw this man into the void.
All right,
Wow.
so you'll see the Earther who's he's the ex-Earther ripped out. There's a trail of blood from the various cords that have been just pulled out of his body, and his crumpled torso and legs go flying out into space.
Problem solved.
Do you lose control?
I have full control.
Well, I was. Did you use I thought you were brain hacking him.
There's no brain to hack now.
Well, right, but if he's like the intermediary between you and the mechanical part.
Desperate times.
It'd be like
Desperate
taking the router out, and you wouldn't be able to talk. Like the computer can't talk to the.
Oh no! I'd spliced in cables.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Through where the AI normally would.
Okay, I thought you were.
No, I wasn't like.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I don't know if it would be a computer hacking. I don't have a power like that.
You do weird stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't know what you can do.
No, you can see that Bryce is just huddled next to the space in the torso where the AI matrix resides, and he's just got the cables that he's rapidly spliced in.
Some of the ships that haven't been destroyed start firing on the NOBOT. Plasma blast and so forth. And this wasn't ordered by Faceplate.
They're just defending themselves.
You'll see. You'll feel the whole body of the NOBOT start to shake. And Bryce, you'll see like damage reports, minimal.
Theo, unplug Pond quickly.
What was that about Pond?
Any change?
Is she still smiling?
Theo, unplug him. Yeah, make sure to unplug Pond. We should be able to pull her out.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah. Well, we can't stay in here.
Okay, all right. Okay,
you'll see on the monitor it says "I don't want to leave."
See, that's why I was wondering what her reaction to this was. It is Pond stating that, Tim?
Can I communicate?
Or it just says, I don't want to leave?
Well, right now, there's that one cord that's unplugged. You get the feeling if you plug in that one cord, Pawn or something masquerading as Pawn or whatever
right.
will be able to have access to the NOBOT, the whole structure, be able to, perform as normal. And it has Pawn's face, and it says, I don't want to leave.
Theo will hold that cable up and say, well, what do you guys think?
No.
No?
And then we just need to, because that's what the whole box is for, so we can just destroy the box and Pond will be restored. Okay. It'll separate him. We know that Pond couldn't go, she can't enter there, so that makes no sense. She can't enter there? Okay. No, that was the whole double wall system, was that she couldn't actually access it. That means that other things is really smart.
Okay.
You'll see the words that says, I have physical form now, please don't.
You better unplug, Theo?
Yeah. He'll start unhooking cables.
Okay.
He'll do it.
You'll see the face of Pawn on the monitor of this, the NOBOT device where the other AI was, just start to slowly dim. And then it goes black.
All right. Well, go ahead, Tim.
You'll hear Pawn. Hello.
Good to hear your voice, Pawn.
How are you?
How are you doing?
That was strange. Are we done here?
Yes. I mean, there was still rockets and explosions going off around us.
Yeah. Is Faceplate trying to order that to stop, or?
He would be trying to figure out by calling to those guys, have you regained control of it, or do we need to destroy it? Because he doesn't want to, but he has seen it blow up most of his ships.
We're in control. Faceplate, we are in control. Please, stop shooting missiles at us.
Okay, then he would start calling off the missiles. Stop shooting, you idiots! It's ours now.
I felt strange being locked inside with it.
What was it like?
It was nihilistic. I think that's the correct term. Nagami was its name. It tried to destroy me. Become me.
I will check through your code later on if that's alright, and we'll make sure you're okay.
I think it copied me in some ways. Merged the two. Strange concept.
It seemed like it was trying to use you as a mask.
I would like to leave this place when you are ready. I feel used.
Basically, AI rape. Yes.
What was that, Alkov?
Basically, AI rape. Yes. I'm looking at that.
We probably should see if there's any residual echo of some sort.
I think Longveer, with a grunt, spins and grabs and just kind of rends and rips the whole matrix out so it's in his hands.
Tearing metal.
Shattering, ripping, popping metal beams, just snapping. And then with a grunt, just kind of heaves it out.
Yes, and all those in witness know that shouldn't be humanly possible.
Theo winces at that wanton destruction of equipment. And you say that shouldn't be possible, huh? Okay. All right.
Yes, superhuman.
Everybody at our point, though, like everyone on the crew has seen him do this stuff. Like, we all know he has super strength.
Yeah, this is
goes beyond.
This is probably above and beyond what he's exhibiting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Theo will kind of jump up and kind of back away a little bit. You know, eyes wide and surprise and kind of shock. And maybe a little fear.
Kind of breathing heavy, Lonely's like, there you go, Pon. You'll never have to worry about it again.
Thank you, Longbeer.
My pleasure. Let's get out of this death trap. Bryce, are you okay to unhook, or?
I'm fine. Where do you want this to be docked, though?
Well. Theo, what are salvage rights on an object that lost control and then came back on and you retake it? Does that become ours? How does that work?
Well, the way things have been lately, I think in the past it would actually become ours. But as I said, the way boundaries and alliances have been, the lines have been considerably blurred. There's no, until we break something like that down, there's no guarantee that anyone else would respect our rights on it.
Do you think anybody would have the power, the computer know-how skill that Bryce has to be able to hack into it and use it?
It's really hard to say because Bryce is quite unique.
We saw that the Earther managed it. It's obviously possible.
Yeah.
He had a lot of machinery backing him up, though. Like, you just, edge plugged in. He was like...
I mean, those are extreme resources we're talking about, you know? So, yes, it is possible, but I wouldn't say that it's very likely.
As you guys are talking, the sights and sounds around you start to sort of diffuse and darken, almost like the existence itself is closing up around you. And you find yourselves, again, back in... this is probably the first time for David, but...
Oh, yeah.
You are in this spherical, hazy blue room. There's this sort of nebulous energy source that's around you. You're all plugged into these devices. There's spikes between each vertebrae. Your arms are securely fastened. You're only barely awake. And the thing that you see is that Kazuko's body is being dragged out of the structure. You see his head, his shoulders, his legs, just disappearing from view. And you get these thought processes of, we need to talk. These weird symbols are appearing in your head. Kazuko, you feel yourself being pulled, and like your eyes are fluttering open, and you look up and you see these two alien figures, one on either side holding your arms. You look down, and they have this like light blue skin appearance, They're floating like about 6 inches off the ground with this strange sort of diamond tail that's the bottom of their being. They have humanoid arms, and they have these 3 black eyes and this chitinous mouth covering. They don't seem to have mouths at all. And you're getting these strange symbols like, we need to sue for peace. We need to speak of such things.
Do I sense either anger or desperation? Can I tell? Is there any kind of emotion, or is it just words?
You get desperation. You think that there's a possibility that they could be wiped out. These are some of the strange. They seem to think, and these are the thoughts that you get. They're worried about the Quay and humanity, the alliance that they have formed.
Okay, I'll attempt to kind of clear my thoughts of any panic, which is what I initially felt when I became kind of aware. And I'll ask them to help me up.
They help you up, and they walk you, float you, show you over to this table, and there is this delegation. There's one human being there. You're not really sure what faction they're part of. You'll see a clone of yourself, which kind of strikes you probably as pretty odd.
Yeah.
And there's a Quay, one of the aliens, very large, chitinous black armor, red eyes, 4 legs that end in points. And there seems like there's some sort of talk that's going to happen. And they sort of move you over and sit you down.
Okay. I immediately, of course, look over at my double out of curiosity, and I say good morning.
Good morning, Kazuko. Seems they've woken you up. It's quite an honor to speak to one of the original. I guess you are the original.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay, I kind of smile to myself as I kind of get a glimpse, realize of what may be kind of going on. And I say, what exactly is your purpose here, since the original is here?
Oh, I'm the general of the clone soldiers.
General? And that, I kind of am taken aback at that. I say, how can you be a clone of me and be a leader of military men?
We all find ourselves in interesting positions. I rose through the ranks. You might not know, but the army is composed of all of your friends. And he points to behind you where there's a sphere of blue energy. You are one of the originals. The originals, and I mean the clone army. They're all composed of your compatriots. Okay.
That actually angers me. Kazuko I try to keep my composure, and I almost kind of stand up as I kind of peer, behind me as he shows me that, and I whip back around and I say, did any of us give you the permission and the authority to just use us in that manner? I don't think so.
No, the Shi had their way with you, and we are the result. And he looks over towards the 2 Shi. And you get this sort of feeling that they brought you back for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And as this is happening, the lights and everything start to fade again. You're back in the other timeline.
Okay.
And you've forgotten all of this.
Okay. All right. Got it.
So that was basically setting up Kazuko trying to set some sort of peace in the solar system far flung in the future.
Wow. Okay, that's heavy. Okay. Wow.
Okay. All right. That's
So you're back in the NWOD. It's being controlled by Bryce. You have this sort of strange, like, vague, what just happened sort of feeling. You wake up. You have this sort of like a fugue state, sort of, oh, what the heck was that kind of feeling? But you don't remember what just happened.
okay.
Hey, Alex.
Huh?
You okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. Just kind of blinked out for a moment.
Hey, technically, Kazuko's not with us, huh?
Oh.
Damn it. Sorry.
That's all right.
Because you were playing Theo. I was like, oh, he's right here with us.
Yeah, still Theo.
See one of the daughters just snapping her fingers at you. Hey.
So Longbeard, what do you want to do as far as the Nobot goes? Then?
It kind of looks long at Theo, and he's like, I don't think anybody should have this power. I say we have the self-destruct go off and just say, oh, I don't know what happened. Probably one of those missiles kind of set it off.
Yeah, but it's not like we often have the chance to utilize the power and the technology that's there.
I mean, unless Bryce is going to be the one to stay plugged in all the time, I don't trust anyone with this type of tech.
And Bryce, is there any way that we can adapt any of that technology and use it ourselves?
Well,
instead of just destroying it?
Oh, man, this comes back to the question of how big our docking bay on the Aeschylus is.
Yeah, I think the NWOD is probably roughly the same size as the ship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Play with us like a toy. That was what in my head.
I mean, not as a whole, if there's even we can salvage anything from it.
Well, don't want to rub faceplate the wrong way, but...
What if it accidentally goes off and explodes? I mean...
Yeah, but that might endanger the ships around it.
You gotta remember, Theo, remember the last time you did this, you lost, 5 crew members that tried to take over one of these Nobots with faceplate?
Yeah, basically faceplate had talked about the Cogs and the Mavericks having a Nobot in their control to help them in the war against Earthers and the Gonjan. So,
all right,
that's some of the backdrop.
Longbeard's basically saying it's not really worth it. Okay, well, if that's the case, then maybe we'll get the opportunity some other time. Not worth
it's just a heavily armed husk at this point.
All right, well, let's do it.
Is Faceplate trying to contact them?
No, he's been convinced that they took over to control. He stopped people from shooting at it, and he's just going to leave it up to them at this point.
So you're agreed, Bryce? We should destroy it?
I'm not sure how volatile its fuel is. It's trigenium? What? I don't know.
It's going to cause a
I'm
large
not sure.
explosion.
This is going to get messy. We're going to leave all this debris out here right next to their station. Unless you want me to set it on a course for, someplace distant and we can blow it up with the Aeschylus. But,
does the ship have the actual power to destroy it like that?
If we target precisely enough, we have the grounding for the matrix exposed. It should be fairly vulnerable here.
Can you hack it, Bryce, so that it'll at least take a long time for them to get it to the point where they can control it? Maybe burn certain wires or overload it?
I can lock it down to the best of my ability.
Well, maybe that would be better then. At least they'll have their ship. I'm not trying to take anything away from Faceplate. I think they probably do good work, but I just don't feel safe having another guy randomly hooked up into this vessel who has, you know, especially while we're docked here. Once we leave, well, whatever.
Okay, well, I'll try what I can. Maybe they'll be able to use it for scrap to repair their vessels.
That's probably the best thing to do.
So, should I make a hacking roll for that, or just say that I took enough time to make it fairly solid?
So you basically just want to self-destruct this thing, right?
No, I think we were talking about just locking it down so that they couldn't use it.
Yeah, kind of disabling it.
Slow them down, just so they wouldn't be immediately able to get into it and start using it.
Right, to its full potential.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So basically,
Whatever damages, we'll just say it was from the explosions or from ripping out the matrix or whatever.
Okay, so you're not blowing it up. You're just making it harder for them to access it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll give us some time, and we can think about it as a group and decide whether we want to let them have it or, I don't know.
I think you have enough time and you're plugged in. I think that's probably fine. No,
Okay.
No need for a roll.
Great.
Are you ready, Bryce? Yep, all set. Wow, dude, you are the fastest man alive. I guess they're there. I'll grab the matrix, and then once everyone's all set, we'll space to the shuttle, and then leave the husk of the giant robot behind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's best we go see the captains so we have an idea on their opinion of how to proceed.
So you guys contact Faceplate?
Yeah, I'm sure as we're leaving, we will, yeah. Long beard to Faceplate.
Yes.
It looks like Faceplate. It looks like it looks like the Nobot's intact completely. We had to rip out the matrix, and it looks like it suffered some damage from the explosions that went off with all the missiles that came at us. Thanks for stopping that, by the way.
Can't blow up my prize.
If you don't need us, we're gonna head back and maybe get some rest. And
You saved my and you saved my ships. So yes, I think you've done enough.
All right. Well, be careful. Theo sends his regards.
All right. So you guys get into the shuttle. Are you heading back towards the settlement, the asteroid, with the rest of the crew?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure probably dealing with whatever, I'm sure there's like a bunch of comms going off, like what happened, and there's going to be a bunch of information that we'll have to pass on to, other people to slow us down. That'll probably take up a couple hours worth of time at least before we even get back to the space, before we even lock down.
Yeah.
Well, just for simplicity and time's sake, I'll say that time passes. You guys have arrived at Alma's house right before, right after breakfast. So they're probably wrapping up things.
We come stumbling in.
Those beautiful smells are still hanging in the air.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Did you guys have more of that pork stuff?
Yeah, sit down. Take a load off. And slide him a couple of plates and some tall glasses of ice cold milk.
Bryce just says thanks and downs a bunch of it, like he's been really thirsty. He doesn't care that it tastes weird to him.
Yeah,
So,
I just went off to bed because I didn't get much sleep, and I need to sleep off that hangover. So you just start drinking the milk greedily. I usually just push the chair back and head off.
Captain Ying has a milk hangover.
Yes.
Overdose. He overdosed on milk.
Yes.
The probably itself was laced with some sort of chemical.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
a growth hormone. Or...
that oily substance, whatever it was. Well, so you're all sitting around Alma's table. She pretty much leaves you guys alone to discuss whatever you want.
Good. No lecture. I headed that off.
So, yeah, the Nobot was about to destroy everything in space, but it looks like we managed to lock it down. I don't know if you guys heard the explosions.
Well, given the
we were
whole
kind of
space
distracted.
thing.
Oh, yeah, I guess I wouldn't have heard them. What did you guys do? You look like you haven't slept.
Oh, we had a great night.
Of course you did.
The captains here had so much fun.
Spinning
out and
out
about,
fur.
long walks.
Still have fur stuck in my teeth, I think.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was great.
You guys couldn't have had nearly as much fun as we did, though.
No, I wouldn't call what we went through was fun. I place it more into the hell version of fun. Yeah, with the Nobot going crazy and really tense hacking, and I don't know. I can't even believe that we left that thing intact. But whatever.
Is there a chance that it could fall into the wrong hands once again, you think, or?
I guess that's relative to whose hands you think are the wrong hands, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, Mavericks have control of it now. The Cogs do, so. And then they're going to sell it off, so it'll be whoever has the highest bidder, I guess.
So we may be back in the same situation once again in the future.
It's an impressive weapon, but the most impressive part would have been the AI.
With that, there's a large black box just slammed onto the table. This right here.
What is that?
It's the AI. Can't you tell?
What are you going to do with it?
I don't know. We'll find something to do with it. Obviously, it's not powered, but I'm sure we can find a use for it. He kind of looks over at Theo and Bryce.
Kazuko kind of looks in the air and kind of goes, you know what? I think I got a place where it could be used. And he thinks about the bot that was skirting around at the club the other night.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure a combat bot could be.
Be a great bartender.
Yeah, the best.
I think it might spill a few too many drinks.
Yes. You will accept this or you will die.
All we have are shots.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hollow points.
But unless Oma confiscated it, I do still have the bottle that I brought back to the kid. So I would just when I go to my room to sleep, I would just hide it in amongst my other stuff. So if he wants it tonight, I can get it for him.
You'll see that Velma comes to the table. Do you guys need anything? Are you good? Are you heading out or staying another night?
Well, our ship doesn't repair it, so we'll be staying another night at least.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't said when the repairs will be done.
All right then. Well, your beds are made. I cleaned the sheets. It seemed like some of you hadn't slept in them, but everything is prepared. If you need anything, you can just let any of us know.
In fact, actually, none of us have slept, I think. Half of us were off either with NWOD, and half of us were off getting drunk, so.
Yeah, the ones that got drunk slept until midnight, though.
Yeah.
So. All right, then. Well, if you need anything, just let me know. She'll head upstairs.
Have they still not given us any indication as to what we can do for them, Captain? It feels a little bit strange just being welcomed into their home with nothing we can give them.
Do they want for anything at all?
I suppose not.
Theo's name. Theo, wasn't there, you took out a listing of everything that was on the ship, right, on the H list?
Of course.
What kind of, what was in the hydroponics? Are there any type of vegetables or fruits or something that maybe they don't have here that we could give to them as a gift so they can start their own cultures?
It's actually a really good idea. There was a few samples that I had, but I'm not a expert as far as agriculture goes or anything, or genetics, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt to give them a few samples.
That's all right with the captains. I'll collect those and then bring them here for them.
That's a fantastic idea. All right, we can do that. I'll supply those.
I'll give you a hand there, Colt says.
Oh, thanks, Doc.
I need to take this back anyway. He sort of gestures over to his irises in the corner.
All right, with that, Longbeer, if anyone has any other questions, just let me know or just contact us. I'll keep the comms open. We'll be on the H list for now. And with that, he grabs the couple 100-pound AI and throws it over his shoulder and just walks out the door.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Maybe we should leave you here so you can help them out.
Yeah. Tim turned me into like a Hulk.
You're just their new ox or something.
No, he's organic.
Who needs to know that? We got you.
All right, so you and the Doc get back onto the ship. There is a wide variety of plants that are growing. Lots of options. Pretty much anything you can think of.
Well, before going to hydroponics, or after quickly dropping that plant off in hydroponics, Colt is going to head to the med bay and just isolate as many samples as he got last night as possible and just sort of store them away refrigerated.
His collection has grown by leaps and bounds.
Beautiful. And he'll go back down to help out Long.
Okay.
When you're up in the lab while Long goes down and he communicates to you, Colt, Doctor.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for me to get a stim?
What kind?
Just a regular energy boosting, stay awake type stim.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. And while he's doing that, I'll start collecting a variety of them, trying to find enough that are heirloom seeds too, so that they can, continually reproduce.
Yeah, you have quite a collection.
All right. Once I get enough that I think is a lot, I mean, this ship obviously produces way more than we can use, but I don't want to waste it, so we'll get a mix of, onto one of the little floating carts that we have, I'll load a bunch of saplings as well as just raw seeds and any type of natural fertilizer, non-chemical based. I'm not sure they would have any, but
I'm guessing on the ship it's probably all chemical.
yeah, probably chemical. Plus it's hydroponics. I'm sure there's no soil. So. Yeah.
Longbeer, this is Pawn.
Go, Pawn.
I was monitoring the sensors. It seems that there are some strange vessels heading in this direction. One very large one.
Any classifications?
Unknown.
Pawn, can you send a message to the other crew and let them know?
Will do.
And then with that, I guess I'll leave these and run up to the pilot chair up in the crew area.
Down on the planet, the Captain Ying will get a little message from Pawn. Pawn, or Captain, this is Pawn.
Yes, what?
We seem to have some visitors approaching. Some vessels of unknown origin.
Good. I start getting up, getting dressed, referring over to the ship.
Estimated time of arrival, 4 hours.
Okay. This is never good.
There seems to be one very large one and many smaller vessels.
Yeah, that would be full of fleet. More people are going to die. Okay. Good thing we didn't fly the damn robot then. So I hit up. Not sure if I would have heard about the Nova before I ran away, but certainly that would be something to bring up. Hey, we have this giant weapon of doom. We can destroy them now.
Longbeer in the pilot seat will see on the sensor readings that will come up on the monitor. There's this very bizarre looking ship. It's angular. It looks very different than the one that you guys possess. That teardrop looking shape. It's massive. You think it's probably about 8 or 10 times the size of the Ageless?
Send out a
8 or 10 times.
Yeah,
Send out a piece, welcome.
massive. It looks. It's just this monstrous ship, but it has this. Well, it's hard to tell since it's so far away. That you can tell there's lots of small ships. Just the big ship that you can see fairly clearly. It's just this monstrous sort of angular dome-looking thing.
And this puts it like in out of capital ship range, right? Kind of puts it into almost like planetoid, asteroid size.
Yeah, you think it's probably the size of like a small asteroid, or a medium-sized asteroid.
Frack. Longbearded crew.
Yes.
We have a large vessel that I am unaware of. I've never seen before. It's large, about 8 times the size of the Ageless, and it's surrounded by smaller vessels coming our way. And it's going to be here in about 4 hours. With that, Longbeard kind of clicks off the comms and starts looking at the damage control center to see how much repairs have been done on the ship.
It seems that the cogs have made various repairs. The ship wasn't all that damaged, so I think that probably another hour will be finished.
And it had the internal bots as well, I'm assuming, were working at the same time.
Yeah, Theo had those bots working double time, so Fred and Melba seem like they've moved over to the Ageless, and they've been repairing.
Oh, wow.
But they weren't ordered to do so. So
yeah, I was gonna say, that's weird. I wonder when Theo did that. And as far as our ship, I can't think of the name of it. The IRO, right?
Yeah, you came up with a name, and I can't remember it.
Tarasu. The Tarasu is the name of it, right? Greek word for trouble.
It is in trouble, but
it seems like the repairs have been finished on your ship, your original ship.
Oh, cool.
Now, did they repair around the alien vessel? I was thinking about it. Or did they remove the vessel?
The alien vessel is sort of docked and attached beside it.
All right.
So I guess the alien vessel is attached to your original ship, and your original ship is attached to the Ageless.
Okay, so we have umbilicals between them. Excellent. Wow, cogs are fast. That's really good news.
Yeah,
I relay that information to the crew, letting them know how the ships are aligned, that they're separated. And we did decide that we could dock the Tarasu inside the docking bay of the Ageless.
As long as the alien ship was separate.
Okay. I'm gonna leave the Ageless and head over to the Tarasu and begin preparations for docking it with the Ageless. Which will probably take a little while, so I don't know what anyone else wants to do.
Well, I would have at some point just come rushing into the bridge, panicking, because there's apparently a giant fleet ready to kill us.
I assume you've passed this on to the rest of the crew, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I assume Pond had already done that, but...
Okay. Alright.
I was woken up in the middle of sleeping off a hangover with the news that we're apparently all going to die. I don't think I would have been thinking clearly enough to inform the rest of the crew.
How do we know this is an aggressive encounter? Do we know that for sure?
It's a bunch of weird ships that we haven't found. I mean, when have we ever had a non-aggressive encounter with alien ships? We have to assume they're going to destroy us.
But we don't know for sure, though.
Yeah. Well, it would be since we can't really kill this thing; it's too big. It would be worth trying to talk to them, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, before we take any kind of, make any maneuvers or, do anything that could be considered to be aggressive towards them is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Is anyone going to inform me that we actually have a giant weapon now? Because... It might not be a good idea if you want to not trigger aggressive, because my first reaction to everything seems to be shoot it, but...
Shoot first.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't think we still necessarily, I didn't think we had any more control, if you're referring to the NWOD, because it was pretty much burnt out. Right?
Oh, yeah, I forgot we destroyed... We didn't destroy it, but we destroyed our ability to control it, so yeah.
I think that was my impression. I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but that's what I thought.
Well, I mean, I'm no hacker, but Bryce may have put backdoors in there for himself to free up. Not that he would ever do that, but.
Anyway. Assuming I'm aware of the NWOD, I would suggest getting it up here, just so that if we do get attacked, we can fight back, but not attacking them until they attack us.
Captain, at this moment, the NWOD belongs to the Mavericks, the cogs, so it's not really our job to do. We do have 3 vessels, and I don't know how to pilot an alien vessel, so I don't know what we're going to do with that one.
I can fly.
They have lots more of them in their order, so...
What was that, Bryce?
I think I know how to maneuver it. This is complicated. Can you give me some time with it?
Sure, you have 4 hours.
Great. I'll take a look and see if I can work miracles. He says, just in this tired stupor. and starts moving to put on an EV suit.
I don't need the EV suit if you don't want to use it.
I'm going to go take a look.
Okay.
If Theo could come with me, that would be of great use.
Okay, you will tag along. What's on your mind?
That's, well, there's a lot I need to explain. Can you bring a few sheets of scrap metal with you? And maybe a welder?
Okay, I'll grab some sheet metal and a plasma welder.
All right. He approaches the. Well, I guess we have to go out into the airlock. Should we?
The umbilicals are set out between the ships. So
yeah.
Swapped up, yeah.
Okay, so how do you want to? Is that?
There's no air in there, so you'll need an EV suit. Watch your step. It's kind of slippery on the floors inside, not because they're slick with any material. They're just there's not a lot of friction.
Do we need a guide? Do we need a guideline or something with us, or anything like that?
I think we'll be all right in those respects. No, we should be fine. Just watch your step.
Okay.
As they're walking through the umbilical, we see that there's a sort of, well, again, it looks like the space that they climbed out of has sealed in this really organic way. It's like the ship itself has this carapace of twisted, what you'd assume to be some sort of metal. This orange shimmering coat on the outside of it, and it winds in ways that are almost coral-like in places. But there's a spot on the side of it that that Bryce picks up one of the pieces of metal and starts tapping in patterns, and there's sort of a hollowness to it, and there's obviously a medium inside it, whether it's a gas or a liquid, that is vibrating when he taps it. And I'm not sure whether it can be heard, but there are just these different tones, almost like the resonance of a drum, that with slight changes in the position of his tapping seem to respond differently. And then the side of the ship, just these plates start to unmesh from each other, and they pull away, not all at once, like in a staggered approach, like they're being drawn back by tendons, and the bridge of the ship is made visible. It's this strangely open space with a floor that seems like it has It has winding grooves in it that one could almost judge as perforations, but they're more like the porous structure of the inside of bones, and you get the sense that if you were one of the Quay, your the end spines of each of your limbs could sort of nestle and grip in it in a very tight and direct way. So it's sort of non-slip for spiny creatures. But also, if you were to brush along it at the wrong angle, it's still very smooth on the top layer. So it's sort of bizarre for someone to walk on with the soft mags boots, because it's not magnetic in nature. So you're just kind of you have to be rather tentative, and it shifts. It's not a perfectly flat floor either, because it has these grooves. They don't have to worry about sliding off it as often, so it can shift in all these really organic, flowing ways. And inside, this pattern of perforation and holes between woven almost coral metal, one can see occasionally light sources in there, and what might be little membranes in places. And out towards our right, looking out over the front of the ship, you can see that rather than an electronic view screen or anything like that, through the forward-facing, I don't know if I want to call it a window. There's just it's like this porous structure has started to form larger gaps. Not hugely large, but it's like we're looking through a mesh towards the outside of the ship and getting tiny samples of the light outside that hit a membrane that's on the inside. So debris is not likely to actually make its way down far enough to hit this membrane, and it's probably a very strong one anyway. But it's like this bridge area, despite it in some ways feeling very open to the outside, is extremely well protected within the form of the ship, which is obviously designed for ramming. What Bryce starts walking over towards kind of instinctively, almost automatically, are these little bumps in the floor that are almost like the form of a it seems almost like they'd be the form of a saddle, but for something very much larger and longer than people. And each of these humps kind of flares upwards at the front with a panel that has holes at the bottom of it that Bryce is starting to look into, and bend a piece of the sheet metal into a rod so he can start just sort of tentatively poking it in there. And he turns to Theo and says, we need something that will be precise enough that it can maneuver very gently in this space here. We need maybe a rod with hooks on it.
Okay.
There are tendons inside this.
Okay.
If we pull these, they seem to be halfway between tendons and nerves.
So we're going to actually be mimicking their appendages in a way?
Exactly.
Okay.
But we'll want sensors on the ends of them. We'll need a very good sense of pressure. We'll need, if we can, we might even want to make this an interface that works through the flesh ports. I don't know if we have time to get ourselves to the point where we can maneuver this with confidence and not jerk it the wrong way.
You think that there's any way possible that we may actually be able to, instead of physically manipulating, maybe that we may be able to get some kind of neural interface?
We might be able to do that in part. It's tricky because it's not like it's a full nervous system, a full-featured brain per se. It's just like we're stimulating basic physical responses. There are parts of it that we will have to manipulate directly, but we might be able to do something if Colt can help us, Colt or Long, help us figure out ways to interface directly, but I don't know how safe that is. The Quay, or no, these aliens, that was a slip, they interface purely physically, but it's like they have such a fine sense of what even just rotating their forelimbs ever so slightly at just the right angle will do to this thing. He turns to Theo, and he has this look in his eyes like he's just recalling something absolutely visceral. It must be what riding a horse is like, or I mean, I've read some of the old novels. It's or dancing with a partner. You can't rely on it to. You can't rely on bluntly yanking it. You have to know the way it shifts, the way it. I don't want to say breathes because it's not something that breathes. It has a rhythm, though.
Theo kind of he strokes his chin, and is in deep thought and kind of ponders at what Bryce is telling him, but he kind of shakes his head and he looks at the materials and the equipment that he has with him, and he kind of looks at Bryce and he says, well, I understand what you're trying to do, and I think I kind of have a pretty good idea of what we want to accomplish, but with what I have here, it's like trying to play a harp with a hammer.
You're absolutely right.
I don't know how we're going to pull this off.
Bryce seems just almost elated that Theo gets it and understands what he's trying to convey. We're gonna have to go back to the lab. Maybe we still have limbs from the Quay we killed on the Tassara, or is that the name? Well, on our first ship. If we can scan them and use the 3D printer, we might be able to start prototyping there. So sorry, I'm just kind of lost in the. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Theo will kind of start gathering the tools up, and he'll kind of usher Bryce, while at the same time he'll kind of get on the radio or the communicator, and he'll ask to have the doctor and Longbeer meet them at the lab ASAP. We've got only a limited amount of time, and we've got to come up with something immediately.
That's probably a good place to break.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, guys, for taking over there for a second. He's kind of calmed down now.
I hope that my vision of the Quay ship wasn't too wasn't far in a bad way from what you were thinking.
No. I really like the idea about the grooves and things.
Yeah, it reminded me of coral or something.
That was
pretty
great.
Good.
Because they have very pointed feet, so it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't be slick. Yeah.
Well, okay. Phil never did show up. I hope he got some rest then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. But
he's gonna be bad.
Hey, I didn't play Theo that bad now.
No.
No, he's gonna be mad because he wasn't here, I think.
Yeah, I know. I was just kidding.
Because I was actually talking to him earlier, but he must just be sound asleep.
That's it. You kept him up longer.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Tim.
It's all my fault. Well, how about we start? We'll start with Alikov today, since the whole milk incident. What'd you think of today's session, Alikov? No? Maybe he's not there. Okay, we'll start on the other side. How about John? What'd you think about today?
I like it. I like the. I mean, I thought I went a little over top with that guy, but I didn't care.
That was good.
Oh, I loved it.
I was just trying to imagine like someone who was so drugged up and didn't care. Right? Really, I forgot to I wanted to have him talk to you after, and I kind of wanted to have like a deep, like baritone voice and be really grumpy, so that you can see like how effective they are on you.
I love that scene where you sort of launched into the air, because I was saying that they messed with the gravity.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It's the only thing I could think of. Like I was trying to remember like some weird stuff. Then I don't know if you ever saw the movie Ice Pirates, but it's a futuristic comedy.
Uh-huh.
Well, they had a thing like that where they would get high and it would actually make them float. And it made me think of like just leaping into the air and just bouncing around like a pinball. Where that came from. But yeah, and I was scared about the Nobot. I really was. You trying to trick us into plugging it in?
I'm kind of glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, the AI was basically pretending to be Pawn.
Like that was one thing that Theo last week was so, Phil was like, nope, there's only one way you can enter, it can't get back out. And I'm like, it's like a Chinese finger trap and you can't pull against it. I'm like, all right, there's no way that he could be in there. She could be in there. But yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys were gonna plug fake pawn in and then have things go badly. But
I think if Bryce wasn't there, I would have. I would have let the guy and pawn fight it out. Bryce, who pulled the other guy out, literally ripped him out of the system when he was controlling it. But yeah,
that was.
I think I could always yank it out if it came down to it.
True.
It's nice being the thing.
I mean, did you guys just imagine that guy seeing the Nobot's hand coming towards him, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then just grabs him and brutal.
Just rips every yeah.
Oh, it would be good and quick though.
It's like, hey, that's plugged into my cortex. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm really feeling the edge of where I'm not even a pilot. I mean, I'm a pilot, but not because I just happen to have those skills. We need to either fix one of the robots or running between ships to turn them on. And
yeah, I mean, most of the Mavericks are at least passable pilots. Oh yeah, pirates too.
Yeah, pirates.
We're all pirates
now. I know Bryce has at least 3 ranks in it.
Oh yeah, and I thought the 3D printer idea, that's super clever.
Oh yeah, very good idea.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like you're gonna print out Quay appendages and use those to pilot it, sort of.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that would be the best idea. Yep.
Hey, wiggle that leg again. We're off course. Twist it. Yeah. No, to the other way, not right, left. Counterclockwise.
Maybe Theo can make some sort of spider bot.
Yeah, or some kind of interface, Maybe you put your arm in it and, your fingers move the Quay appendage or something.
Quay paws.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. Well, how about you, David? What'd you think about today?
Oh, it was great. It was great coming back, and a few things I was lost on, but overall, you guys didn't put me in the hot seat too much, and I had fun. It was really good, as usual,
Is there anything we can clear up? Like, what were you lost on?
We didn't.
No.
I forgot.
What'd you say, John?
At the beginning, we didn't recap like we normally do.
Yeah, but that's just because I just need to catch up on my own. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, like I said, everything went pretty smoothly. It was just I really liked the bar scene was pretty fun, and I thought that I don't know. You guys keep giving me opportunities for to have kind of Kazuko kind of expand and expound upon kind of how he feels as far as I don't know. He has this kind of thing going on with him where he likes being a mediator and all that kind of stuff. But then there's also there's more and more situations occurring where hard choices have to be made between almost like life and death and everything, and everything's not just black and white, there's a lot of gray areas that are popping up, and that's kind of freaking them out, but that's good, kind of good stuff. So I like that.
Zuko's like our moral center, like I even find Longbeard starting to like think, what would Kazuko
We're in trouble. Okay.
Yeah, because I kind of established that relationship with him when I realized I had no moral compass, and then the other crew kind of latched onto that. This is his role now.
Yeah, but he's learning because the captain's like, hey, sometimes you got to shoot first and ask questions later. So I don't know.
The captain had a complete character flip last session that continued into this session of like he's always been the uptight guy. He's like. Which I guess could be explained as his like on-duty, off-duty thing.
Yeah.
As soon as the ship showed up, he's like, I'm back into business mode. But like when he goes to shore leave, it's like, okay, I look at the same way that Pon Farr worked, where like you pay for being so businesslike and uptight most of the time. By when you do get to relax, you like hit everything really hard and go to the other extreme. Because you need to get that out of your system before you can get back to being normal again.
And then I really I liked having that kind of moment with Bryce as he kind of had his moment on the bridge of the ship. That was pretty cool too. So yeah, I had a good time. Yeah, everything was good. So, but I gotta run, guys.
Yep.
So, thanks again. Appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yep.
All right. Good
Okay. All right. Take care.
Alikov, or I guess Alex, what did you think?
It was a lot of fun. I'm still not sure how well I can play Colt.
Probably better than me.
You played it.
I at least got to work towards some of his aspirations, so that was fun. Yeah, it was just the weird thing about playing both Colt and Bryce at the same time is it meant that I was involved in everything, which felt a little weird. Yeah. Non-stop.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was a very frightening out-of-the-box place.
Yes.
Yeah, I jotted down this one little plot point thing, like, I didn't know when you're going to encounter it, of, basically hybrid people, in a strange sort of fetish, surreal, like, I don't know, bar or stripper place. And I just wrote that down, like, just sort of an offhand thing I did one day, and it's like, well, alright, screw it. That's what's here.
It was like a candy shop for Colt. I mean...
That was awesome.
Yeah, really, yeah.
I love the, I will take DNA from everywhere. That's awesome.
How about you,
And then-
Alkov? What do you think?
I liked it. I mean, I was kind of hanging back and everything, but it wasn't because I was bored. It was just because I was in a passive mood today, I guess. But, particularly once I got hit with the weirdness of out of the box, it's just like, okay, I will just sit back and experience this, and I didn't really have anything to contribute because I just, it's like, same thing as in the dream sequences, like, you're doing such a good job narrating it, I don't really have anything to add.
Oh, well, don't ever feel like you can't add more or something.
No, not that I felt that it was wrong, would have been wrong for me to do it, it's just, I had nothing to say because I was caught up in the flow of the narrative. I didn't really have any desire to mess with it.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you just enjoyed it then. That's cool.
Yeah. And I have this plan that, like, you guys will giving Alma all the seeds and stuff, assuming we get out of this current problem, is good. I'm just going to keep that bottle of beer that I brought back and, like, hand it to the kid, like, the night before we leave and then run off. Because I am not dealing with Alma getting mad at me for getting him drunk.
Yeah, you totally owe him, too.
Oh, yeah, I owe him, and I want to do that for him, but I also want to do it in a way that won't get me in trouble. Like, if you kid, want to risk your grandmother's wrath with this, then great, that's on you. I'm not sticking my neck out for you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like an older woman with her hands on her hips and just like glaring at me just terrifies the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Just like, oh man, I'm in so much trouble.
Well, it triggers all these sort of psychological things from childhood.
Yeah.
If a woman is older than you, it's sort of, you look at her as a mother or an authority figure.
Yeah.
And then when a female authority figure that is kind of motherly is in that mood towards you, it triggers all the, okay, now you feel like a child again.
Yeah, my mother was a devil with a wooden spoon. Oh, God. If I was bad, I got it, that's for sure.
Yes, I've built up enough trust over recent years that I don't really have to deal with angry mother very much, but I remember from when I was younger.
All right, guys. I believe next week I can't run the game because I have to go take an apprenticeship test. I'm trying to become some sort of electrical apprentice. So
Good.
All right. Hope
So
that goes well.
we'll
That's
see.
a good thing to take.
Yeah, I figure try to do something a little bit different. We'll see.
I did an apprenticeship. I think I have 180 hours towards mine that I just picked up from working with a friend who is an electrician. And it's you go to, depending on what kind you are, but I mean, you go to different places all the time. And
Yeah, I'm trying.
it's always different. You know what I mean? So it kind of keeps your mind going.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just want to change fields and maybe make a little bit more money. So.
And get out of whatever place you were in, from what you said.
Yeah, I've had to deal with a lot of drama lately, and I just think I needed a change of pace. So,
Yeah.
maybe try to become the breadwinner of my family. We'll see. We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But,
Well, even if it's just a better environment. I mean,
Yeah.
who makes the most money? I don't think really matters personally, but
yeah.
if you enjoy the job more, and if your biggest worry is what you're going to have for lunch, that's a good thing. You just go do your job and come home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's luckily where I am. I found like the perfect school that's like that, where, I mean, I worry about exams and stuff a little, but it's like, yeah, I have happy environment that, of course, I describe it as it's basically run by the spring court, so it's very laid back and not in a like crazy party atmosphere, although some of that, but more just in everything is laid back. Do what you want as long as you don't screw up on tests or being an idiot and get yourself caught with drugs or something. Like, nobody cares.
Call it responsible fun? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, and they trust that, like, that nobody will, do anything stupid unless they know that this person has. And okay, whatever. They seem to be more upset about, people stealing cups from the cafeteria than anything else. Everyone's laughing this thing because we got this, like, extreme, like, I don't know if they used absurd amounts of exclamation points, but that's how everyone read it. Of just like, give us our fucking cups back, damn it.
They're 16-ounce tumblers. They're perfect for beers.
They're more worried about that than like the drinking or people stealing food at night or anything. They used to apparently protect the food, like once the cafeteria was closed, but then they just decided to give up. So it's fun.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks then.
All right. Thanks. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.